Here and Now, the program featuring the news and interests of the African American community. Here's your host, Sandra Bookman.
Coming up, building affordable housing and better lives for families in New Jersey will introduce you to the successful Black female developer whose story began in war-torn Liberia. Also ahead, how the Doe Fund's Ready, Willing, and Able program continues its legacy of connecting the homeless to jobs and permanent housing. Actor Malik Yoba on his Flipping the Hood initiative with a focus on education and real estate. Actress Erica Woods on her breakout role in the hit series Power Book 3, Raising Canaan. And award-winning actor Courtney B. Vance shares his latest project, the first audio edition of W.E.B. Du Bois's biography of a race, 1868 to 1919. That's all ahead on Here and Now. He's appeared in more than 50 films, Cool Runnings and Why Did I Get Married among them. And who doesn't remember his star turn in the hit TV series New York Undercover? But offstage, Malik Yoba has been equally busy as a social entrepreneur in his community. His Yoba development is the embodiment of doing well while doing good, with a focus on youth, education, and real estate. Joining us today, actor, producer, CEO, New York's own Malik Yoba, and his daughter, president of the Yoba Development Foundation, Dena Yoba. Thank you both for joining us this afternoon.
Good to see you again.
Thank you.
It is wonderful to see him in father mode.
He always is in father mode.
He's always in daddy mode, huh? So, you know, I think that most people, when they see you, they'll go, oh, that's that actor. Yeah, I know him. But you're about so much more. You have a real commitment to the community. You're entrepreneurial. Talk to me about, is that something that's always been part of your life, or?
Yeah, absolutely. So if we can get it, we can't get a close up of this tattoo because it's a little distorted now. But this says, "Build your own generator, so when they turn off the power, you still have lights." So you mentioned fatherhood. My father would preach that to us as a kid. I had a paper out from 8 years old to 16 in Harlem. Some people might remember my restaurant, Soul Cafe. I was a partner in that for 9 years. I've had a marketing company, a theater company. I've obviously been in real estate development. I'm partners in a tech company. So I've always been entrepreneurial, and I've always been really focused on young people and personal development and education. And so, yeah, it's just always been baked in, and I feel fortunate that I was shooting a show called God Friended Me a few years ago, where I was playing a real estate developer. At that point in 2018, I was probably 10 years into my journey learning about development, and I, was inspired while being on set to bring real estate, filmmaking, working with young people together. And that was the early days of Yoba Development, which I founded in 2017 but didn't do anything with it. And so being in father mode with my daughter, which we didn't start the foundation until, what year was that?
2022, November.
The first thing I had to do was do the paperwork for the 501c3. But I wanted her, and other people's kids too, not just mine, but we got to bring young people into the mix so they know what the hell is going on.
So they're part of growing their community, and we each one teach one, and you got to reach back and bring
Lift
other
as
people
you
up.
climb. Yeah, that's got to be a part of it.
So you modeled that behavior.
Yeah, at her age, I was the vice president of City Kids Foundation, which was just south of where we are here, and I guess we don't know if this is Soho or the West Village, this area where the new ABC Studios is, but yeah, it's always been important to me to make sure that we put young people in the mix, because I was that kid. I was that kid at 17, 19, where people put me in position, so yeah.
So Dena, the foundation, what's the focus of the foundation?
Yeah, the focus of the foundation is going to be community and personal development through education and real estate. As the Yoba Development LLC stands on education, real estate, and media, mixing young people together with that, we also funnel that purpose through that as well. And so I've had to talk about it a lot recently, and every single time I hear myself talk about it, it's a little bit different every time. But I do make sure to bring up the community and personal development piece, because that is the most important thing. Builders of people, places, and things is our slogan through and through for the LLC and the foundation. And so Yeah, we run programming through schools. We work with young kids from middle schools, high schools, college students. I'm 24, so early 20s as well. And I feel pretty aligned to be put in this position to help work with young people and bring forth our mission of personal and community development through the real estate.
And I get the sense that listening to your dad talk that he was talking about all this when you were 6,
Little.
7, 8, 9, 10.
My whole life, yeah.
Whole life.
Yeah, definitely. In the last 6 years since I've lived in New York, I grew up in LA. I was born there and spent a lot of time bi-coastal, so a large part of me does attribute New York to my adulthood and just how I am right now and the person and young woman that I am right now. But we've gotten really close working together. He's really one of my best friends, and I feel very lucky and fortunate to say that about my dad. But yeah, the work that we do together, I've been hearing about it my whole life, especially City Kids. He's talked about that. I can't even count. I know all about City Kids Foundation.
But it's not just talk, because he was walking the walk.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess that's why today you have a real belief in the work that you guys are doing.
Yeah, absolutely. It does bring a lot of joy, honestly.
And is it difficult? Look, I don't have children, so I'll say that right up front. But you hear a lot of talk about, what is the generation as? Is Gen X, Z, what is it? I don't know. But do you have a difficult time sometimes selling the idea to other young people sort of expressing why this kind of development is important and what's at stake? Because it is kind of a foundation in a way for young lives that you are trying to help them build.
I think no. I feel like Gen Z, because being 24, I'm technically a part of Gen Z. Even though mentally, I will admit, I do tend to feel much older. But I will say that there should be more credit given to my generation, because we do care about ourselves more than it is portrayed. We just work within the circumstances that were presented to us. So there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of depression, there's a lot of kids and young people my age and a little bit older and younger that maybe feel lost or don't have a lot of direction, and so these conversations can feel like, what are we talking about? I don't know if I can be a part of that life. I don't know if I want to do real estate development. There's gentrification happening. There's no room for me there. But the way that we market it or just talk about it is by creating the community. So when people feel seen and they feel like, okay, great, sure, there's a place for me there, especially through my experience, right? Being as young as I am and being a part of all this stuff, at first I had to find where I fit in it. Like he said, he had me do the paperwork. I was like, why do you have me doing this? Getting 501c3 is not easy. Dealing with the IRS is not easy. Starting a foundation is not easy. And I was alone in a lot of parts of that. And not alone in the sense I didn't have help, but there was a lot of brain power being put to it. Sure, just try it. So kind of learning how to swim while you're swimming.
Yeah.
And so my experience was very much starting from the bottom and going up. And I'm still going up and I'm still learning and developing. So I think because of that, when I do talk about my experience with other people and we are talking about the work that we do, it's palatable. People receive it because I'm not just selling them a dream.
Yeah.
And all the work we do, there's a large follow-through aspect to it as well. So it's not just let's just show you what we're doing, the activation that we have coming up, which we will be talking about. It's not just okay, yeah, pull up, we'll show you what people are doing that maybe you want to be in that position one day. It's there's a lot of follow-through. It's we see it past just the day that people get activated.
It's achievable.
I like to see that.
Yeah.
But that was the whole point,
you
right?
Taught her well.
So, it's learning by doing, right? So you have to put young people in position. Like I said, I was that young person. We'll talk about Lori Meadoff, who's the founder of City Kids Foundation, who met me as a 19-year-old and saw something in me and said, kid, I'm going to hire you. By 20, I was working in 13 high schools with City Kids Foundation, helping to use art to reduce the dropout rate. And a lot of the young people that were part of City Kids and now Dule Hill and Lauren Hill came through there, and Lisa LaPera, who's on Equalizer, and Dash Myhawk, who was on Ray Donovan. The list goes on and on. But young people are also exposed to so much of the world, and they can see pathway, or at least they have a window into a possibility. So we launched the I Build New York program at the high school level at the Brooklyn STEAM Center. That's a school of 320-something kids, and 10% of the school population signed up for the learning about real estate development. They didn't know anything about it, and so they just know that, hey, I heard, I can make money here. I can do better than my parents.
Yeah.
I missed the last internship. What is that about? So that I think there's a lot of information out there that young people can see and go, wait, that's interesting. So teach me more about that. But from a community standpoint, it's high schools, colleges, and community, which is our age and younger, and it's about that mashup, right? For a lot of us, we don't have the opportunity to sit at the kitchen table to talk about their father's deals that they're making or how the family office is investing, right? So as a community, we have to be more thoughtful about, it's cool if I'm successful individually, but what about you? Like, how do I not care about you? And, you know, for a lot of people, that's not what they think about. But for me, I was given a seat at the table, particularly on the development side as well. And it's a fascinating world. And I think, you know, it is marketing, it is finance, it's art, it's you know, it's engineering, it's science, it's all of these things,
you can
right?
Find your, if you know about
anything
it and
you do,
it,
you can find a pathway. Whether you like making films, you want to tell stories, you like fashion, you like design, you like math, you like whatever it is. There's a space in this built. Everything in here is part of the mix of what it means to develop communities.
Yeah, and it's important to expose young people to that, because sometimes that's the only way that they will be exposed to it. I want to ask you about your Flipping the Hood event.
So Flipping the Hood was a vision that was gifted to me back in 2021, literally during COVID, at the house on a Saturday afternoon, and I just heard from the ground up Flipping the Hood. I knew that I know so many people in so many spaces, and I wanted to create a space, a platform for other people to stand on. So regardless of your experience level, you have something to share, right? Even you do, right? We just met she's an intern, she's a PA outside. She's been in New York for 4 months, right? She came up to me and said, hey, how did you get started? She's in New York on a scholarship at NYU, played basketball, full ride. She wants to be in media. Those are the opportunities that we have to give people outside of this building. What about those kids that are hanging out on the corner? What about those folks who have no pathway? So Flipping the Hood isn't just about real estate, right? The first real estate we own is in our mind. So it's about how do we knowledge transfer in real time? How do we create space? We have 2 days of incredible programming, everything from the screening of an incredible film called Dear America, A Letter from Black Women, which starts day one off, which really looks at where we are as a country and democracy and the role Black women have played in that. Everything from supply chain to AI to crypto to interior designers to people who are developers to a plethora of pathways that people don't know about. And so this is really a throwback for me of the work I've been doing since the 80s. Like, how do you create space, invite people into it so they can see themselves, so they can make connections. The first time we did it 2 years ago, we had $55 million of business activity happening with 1,000 people over 2 days. People flew in from all over the country. And this year, if you go, I'm sure you'll put the website up, but people can look at the programming. And we go from wellness in the morning to harvest in the afternoon, right? We go from the mental, planting the seeds, to the harvest. Go ahead.
If I send folks to yobadevelopment.com, there's information.
Yep. You can obviously follow us on Instagram, Yoba Development, Yoba Development Foundation. You can follow me on our LinkedIn. But the information's out there.
It's such a pleasure to meet you.
It's lovely to meet you as well.
And it's always nice to see you.
Always good to see you. Thank you.
Dena, Yoba, pretty soon you're going to be his boss.
She's my boss now.
Right. Thank you, guys. We'll be right back. Our next guest is a survivor. In the 1990s, at age 13, she and her family fled war-torn Liberia and eventually resettled in Newark, New Jersey. Today, she is the owner of 7 restaurants, including 4 IHOP franchises. She's also the first Black woman to win a New Jersey tax credit to build affordable housing. And her latest housing project will do so much more than just put a roof over the heads of the families who need it. Joining us today, developer and philanthropist Adenah Bayoh. It is such a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you for having me. It's
Your
an honor to be
story
here.
is it's just exceptional.
Thank you.
And it's very inspiring.
Thank you.
So talk to me a little bit about, if you will, that sojourn with your family to get here to the United States. You left Liberia to get away from a civil war. How do you think that experience, going through that, shaped who you are today?
I'm of the mindset that everything in my life is working in concert for my good. I think coming and going through the Civil War allowed me to experience things that really have shaped the person that I am today. I don't think if I hadn't experienced war, been a refugee, and lived in affordable housing, public housing in Newark, I would be a Dena today. So I fundamentally believe that. So when I landed in Newark, after experiencing civil war in Africa, I was literally saying to myself, oh, this is heaven on earth. This is heaven. When I went to school, I felt so grateful to be given another opportunity. And that's just been my mindset. This is an opportunity for me to not just take what little opportunity God has given me, but just be grateful for it. So I think it's all shaped who I am today.
Yeah, and you want, based on what I know about your record, professionally especially, it seems like you want to be able to give other people, other young people like you were, that feeling.
Absolutely, because there's a saying that I also live by that says, in this country, 50% of your life outcomes is going to determine, 50% of your life outcome is determined by the zip code you were born in. And the other 50% is determined by the generosity of the people that you encounter on your journey. So I can't help where people are born in what zip code, but I want to be able to be that generous person, just like I've had in my life. I've had teachers that have been generous with their time. When I came to this country, I couldn't read. And I was put in the 7th grade. And my 7th grade teacher tutored me to the 8th grade. And when I went to high school, my high school teacher, Ms. Jackson, tutored me all the way through high school. So for me, it's the generosity of those women. It's how I get to sit here today and pay it forward.
That's exactly what you're doing. Now, I said in the introduction, you're the first Black woman to get a New Jersey tax credit to build affordable housing. Why is that such a big deal? Not necessarily that you're first Black woman, but getting that tax credit allows you in these developments to do exactly what you're talking about doing, paying it forward.
That is important for me because prior to that award, I had been partner in about 9% tax credit. So this was an opportunity for me to do it the way I always wanted to do development. I've always felt like housing is a right. I've always felt like people should thrive in these housing complex. And I refer to my project as communities. I want a 10-year-old boy that is in one of my buildings to be able to have access to tutoring, after-school programs, access to a laptop. And one of the fundamental things that we did with this project, and I'm so grateful to some of the partners, my banking partners, Citizen Bank, Enterprise Community, every apartment in that development is going to have free Wi-Fi for 15 years. That they don't have to pay for. You come in, you power up, and you're
ready to go.
Ready to go.
And this, we're talking about the South 11th Street project in Newark that's right now in development. I think you said to me before that you expect to be moving families in by August. You started a year ago. It's just, you are going to give laptops to every young resident. And tutoring services. Why was that important to you to do?
Because when I grew up in Newark, I had access to after-school services. I went to a center called Quest Youth Center. It's closed down now, but it shaped me. It shaped who I am today, how I look at myself as a human being. And I've always felt like our kids need somewhere to go to after school where people are pouring into them, where people are telling them they are somebody. And I know I don't have the means to put every kid in an after school, but I've always said to myself, one of the things that have kept me from not doing my own project because I didn't have access to capital. I said, when I am given this opportunity, money should not keep people from achieving their goals. If I have access to this, I want to do something impactful that's going to set a kid up, a mother that's still at work till 5 o'clock to know after school, my child is in the building being tutored and they're safe. Always wanted to do that.
You focused, with this affordable housing, you focuses on disadvantaged communities.
Yeah.
You feel that that's your niche, where you can actually make a difference, I guess move the needle?
Yeah, absolutely. I am a product of them. I still have family that live in Newark. I still have strong attachment to those communities. So when I develop, I'm not developing from an outside perspective. I'm developing from real information because I am from those communities. I do know what is missing. I do know what is needed. And sometimes, I've always said this, when you're not at the table, you're on the menu.
Yeah.
So given this opportunity to be at the table allows me to shape certain outcomes. And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah. I know that you have said that your grandmother was a big influence on you. I think, did she have a restaurant in Liberia?
Yeah, she had a restaurant, she had real estate, and she had a farm. And I worked all three of those things. Yeah. And I think it's Malcolm Gladwell that says, in the outlier, in anything you do, you need about 10,000 hours to be a pro expert. I've been on this entrepreneur journey since I was 5 or 6 years old. So I think I have maxed out my 10,000 hour, but my grandmother was this force. She didn't read, she didn't write, but she had farms. She had a bread factory. Yeah. She had a restaurant. And she would go in the marketplace and she would gather women around. And they would talk about how they need to shape their futures. And I would be right in the midst of that. So I
soaked it all up.
Soaked it all up, was a sponge. And to her honor, I am sitting here today with you.
Yeah. I know she's proud of you. Is your grandmother
She passed a couple of years ago.
Yeah. But she poured all into you.
Yeah.
Now talk to about the restaurants you have. 4 IHOP franchises, 3 other restaurants.
Yes.
And one of the things you do, I think, is it in the Irvington store?
Yes.
We
do a whole slew of things.
You got a breakfast program. Talk to me about that. You've got your hands in the community that needs you all over the place.
So I've always referred to my restaurants as the community gathering space. We do community dinners. We do this amazing thing called Breakfast for Dinner. We shut down a restaurant and we just feed the community. During the pandemic, when kids had no school, we did breakfast program. Any kid off any street, any zip code, you just come and we gave you pancake. We did those not because I felt like, oh, let's give people a handout, but we are a community steward. We are people that benefit from those community, and it's our duty to just be as impactful to those community and give back just as much.
I'm going to send folks to your website, adenahbayoh.com.
Yes.
They can find out about some of those restaurants.
Yes, absolutely.
As well as the projects that you've worked on, and this big one right now in Newark, South 11th Street.
Yes.
Right?
And I'm going to invite you to that ribbon cutting, Sandra. You have to come. It's going to be amazing. And
in August,
you for
right?
having me. Yes, in August.
All right.
Thank
you. We cannot wait to see what you do next.
Oh, thank you. It's an honor.
We'll be right back. Homelessness in the New York City metropolitan area has reached the highest levels since the Great Depression in the 1930s. In fact, the Coalition for the Homeless estimates that more than 350,000 people in the city are without a place to call home. For nearly 40 years, the Doe Fund and its flagship Ready, Willing, and Able programs has connected nearly 15,000 people to jobs, permanent housing, or both. Here to tell us more this afternoon, Jennifer Mitchell, President and CEO of the Doe Fund, along with Orisha Jordan, the Vice President of Housing Placement. Thank you both for being with us this afternoon. The Doe Fund is one of those organizations I think that New Yorkers, we instantly recognize, as you said, ready, willing, and able. Yeah. But we also instantly know that you're changing lives for the better. So, you know, this question of housing people that don't have housing, of finding affordable housing, it is a bigger issue than ever.
Yes.
So how are you guys dealing with that? I mean, you've been doing this work for what, almost 40, not you, but the organization, almost 40 years, right?
Well, the organization is nearly 40 years old. Orisha has been with the organization for nearly 30 years at this point.
Since you were 5.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And this is my second stint back with the organization. So I was here for 12 years, left for 12 years, now I've been back for 2 years. So we have been doing this work and in it for a long time. We have what, as you referred to, the Ready, Willing, and Able program, which is the iconic men in blue that live in our transitional housing residences and then participate in our workforce development program, which is a paid work training program where they provide supplemental sanitation services to 115 miles of city streets every single week. And then back at our facilities, they get computer essentials and career prep and housing support led by Orisha and many other wraparound services. And so that's one half of what we do is folks go through that Ready, Willing, and Able program, and we help them to find permanent employment and permanent housing at the end of it. The other half of the Doe Fund is our portfolio of supportive and affordable housing. And so we, over the past decade plus, have built more than 1,000 units of affordable and supportive housing and have many more in stages of development. So we feel like we're kind of working it on both fronts. People that are able to get work, we work with in our training program and help them to get that stability and that independence. And then for folks who maybe are challenged either physically or mentally and really need a safe place to call home first, we're developing that. So both things.
And you know, Orisha, there's a lot of conversations these days about housing, affordable housing, you know, how to provide housing for people. But you guys seem to be being able to do it, to actually work on it. Why are you having success at helping your clients do this where people seem to be stuck in other areas?
Well, it's, as you mentioned, the housing market is definitely a challenge, and it is getting worse, unfortunately, with rents starting at about $3,600 a month for even a studio. Yeah. Who can afford that? Unfortunately, we have a phenomenal team of staff, both housing, social services as well. It's a good community of people that really care, but they pound the pavements. It's a lot of work, but they pound the pavements, they speak to people. One of the things that we do a lot is just making sure that people understand where these clients are coming from and knowing that they're trying to get a second chance in life. They've made some mistakes. We all understand that. We're human. We all make mistakes. But I think the reality of where our clientele is coming from, knowing that they have these wraparound services, they have been able to work on some of the things that have been a challenge for them. So I think it makes it a little bit more comfortable for landlords to work with our guys. Also, our staff, they go on viewings with them. They prep them. They make sure they have proper dress attire, interviewing skills to make sure, because first impression is sometimes the only impression that they have. So they work very hard and very diligently with them. They also work very hard with the city programs, making sure that we make those connections. And that has been a great collaboration on both sides, because the only way to make this work is if we all work together to make a change.
Yeah, and one of the things I would just add is Orisha and her team have been doing this for a really long time, and they really understand kind of the nuances of the different housing vouchers and all of that. And they stay on top of it, and they're always following like any changes there. So they really give, the tools and the secrets of success to the folks that we're working with.
No, and we try to do some workshops with the clientele, because one of the biggest challenges I feel is it's not just about moving out, it's about staying out. So sometimes, what we want to do is make sure that they have the resources that they need on where to go to if they're having a problem with their heat, their water, whatever the case might be. And that is the one beautiful thing about the Doe Fund as well, is having that service for graduates, specifically graduate services, but it's that additional service. So if they do bump into the road for any reason, whether they have a problem with housing, whether they want to upgrade their housing, if they don't know what to do to renew their voucher, they can always come back and speak to either a housing specialist, a graduate services advisor, case manager, whomever, because everybody's willing to help everyone with our organization.
And even helping them navigate a tricky situation with a landlord or anything. We have coaches and guides and wonderful people who work on a regional team.
So I mentioned some of the numbers coming into the interview, and it just seems like the need is really huge these days. Have you noticed an increase? Are there more people in need of the services that you offer?
So yes, I mean,
Absolutely.
we are seeing a lot of people in need, but also what it is that the length of time it takes for someone to get from the shelter system into housing takes longer, right? There's just the supply side in New York City of affordable housing. The math does not add up, right? So we used to be able to place folks that finished our Ready, Willing, and Able program and secured employment into a job, into housing at around 6 weeks. It now can take an average of 6 months to have someone who is living in one of our transitional residences, working, earning money to find and secure and move into housing.
Yes. That's, oh my goodness. And who are your clients, and how do they come to you?
Yeah, so the Ready, Willing, and Able side of things are, all of them are men. So they're single men that have been admitted to the Department of Homeless Service system, and then they're referred to us because they are ready, willing, and able, and committed to taking the training and the skills and the wraparound service to build a better life for themselves, to contribute to their well-being, their family's well-being, their community. And so that's one side, is folks that come through the Department of Homeless Service system. Then with our affordable and supportive housing, about half of our housing stock, about 700 units, are just affordable units that people can access through the New York City Connect lottery program. And the other half are folks that are referred to us from city and state agencies because they qualify because of various reasons.
Okay, and how are you able to do what you do? How is the Doe Fund funded?
So the Doe Fund is funded in a multitude of different ways, and in this environment, you want to make sure you have diverse funding sources. So the city is one of our strongest partners. The state is also a strong partner, and then really our ability to be responsive to the needs of the people we serve and to continue to innovate and build new programs is based on the generosity of individual New Yorkers, corporations, and foundations throughout New York City. We've been, as you stated in the beginning, we've been in existence and have a nearly 4-decade track record of doing the work we do. We could not do it without all of our friends and neighbors and communities that care so deeply about the people that we serve and give generously.
Well, I want to send folks to DOE.org. That's DOE for Doe Fund, not Department of Education.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, that's important.
DOE.org. It's such a pleasure to meet both of you because you are doing such important work, and it's even more important today.
Thank you.
And just your enthusiasm about the work and devotion to it, I think that makes a huge difference. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
We appreciate it. It's a pleasure.
We'll be right back.
In a real sense, Du Bois was seen by hundreds of thousands of Americans, black and white, as the paramount custodian of the intellect that so many impoverished, deprived, intimidated, and desperately striving African Americans had either never developed or found it imperative to conceal. His chosen weapons were grand ideas propelled by uncompromising language.
He is, without question, one of the most prominent and respected African American scholars ever. Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois was the first Black American to earn a PhD from Harvard University, and he was a founding member of the NAACP. Now, for the first time ever, the prize-winning the W.E.B. Du Bois Biography of Race, 1868 to 1919, has been enhanced with an audio recording. Award-winning actor Courtney B. Vance is the narrator of this extraordinary literary piece of work and our guest today. It is so nice to see you. We were here not too long ago talking about one of your projects, and anytime you say you want to come, we say, okay, come.
I'm so glad to be here to talk about this wonderful project.
So how did you come to be involved in this project?
I've had this book on my shelf, the first volume, for 30 years. And I listened to books, listened to big biographies, and every 2 years I would check to see if somebody had done the audio version of it. And I just happened to be, and no one had done it. And I happened to be at a graduation, and David Levering Lewis was getting an honorary doctorate. And so I said, I'm going to go up to him and ask him why there's not an audio version. And I missed him, so I tracked him down afterwards, and I asked him why. He said, Courtney, when the first volume came out in 1993, there was no audio. And when the second volume came out, and both of them won the Pulitzer, there was no audio. I said, oh. He said, so what are you saying? Do you want to do this? Are you saying you want to do it? I said, that's not why I called you, but yes.
Yes.
So all the deal was done, and we are here today. But it was, for me to actually be sitting here knowing that I was waiting for someone to do it.
Yeah. No, but.
And I end up doing it.
Well, you were waiting, but I think that something back there was saying, you need to check on this.
Yeah.
It sounds like it was out there for you all the time. You just needed to step up and ask for it.
Yeah.
Why is it such an honor for you to voice this man's life story?
I'm a history buff. I love big biographies, and the more I read them, the more I can understand people and understand that people don't change. 1700, 21st century, people are the same. The technology changes, situations change, but people and our craziness do not. If W.E.B. Du Bois and his generation were able to do what they did, a generation removed from slavery, we were all trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And were being held down. White folks wanted black folks to be able to be educated, but not too educated. And W.E.B. Du Bois was about the talented 10th, leading folks, which meant that the education they were talking about was the same education, the liberal arts education, that white folks were engaged in. And white folks at the time were like, that's not happening. So that battle between Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois was financed by white philanthropists who wanted to, and that's why so it's a situation that has not changed today. That's why I look at it and go, he was in the black community. There was a picture of Jesus and MLK, but in that era there was a picture of Jesus and W.E.B. Du Bois.
Yeah,
that's who he was, and we as he died in 1963. And August 26, 1963, and MLK was doing his "I Have a Dream" speech. At the same time, W.E. was leaving, and he was. And we need to acknowledge and know that who that man was, because he laid the groundwork for the civil rights. He was the architect of the civil rights movement, the modern day civil rights movement.
Now, how easy or difficult was it doing the project? I know it took you some hours to get it all recorded.
Yeah, we read. You know, it's you have to set. One has to set one's mind that this is going to be a grind, and the words are going to blur in front of you at times, and you're going to have to go through the blurring till they get back. You know, and I have a marvelous, wonderful director, Miss Christina Rooney, who just any question that I have, she's able to. And there are times when things would happen and things would be said, because I had no idea the NAACP organization was a white organization. It was founded by white people. And W.E.B. was like, I know, you know, we're having a discussion, heated discussion about things, and you get upset with me because I don't defer to you. We're trying to create something different. I'm not going to defer to you. If I was white, there would be we would just be talking and be arguing constructively. Yeah. So it was a completely different time, and it's something that, you know, we can look at and know that in the times that we're in now, you have to be engaged. You have to be involved, and in a way that says, as he did, look, you know, we ain't going nowhere. We're going to figure this out. I'm not going nowhere. You're not going nowhere. You know, African American people ain't going nowhere. The Asian American people, we have to figure it out together. We have to talk it through.
Is it your hope that this biography, in your voice, will introduce him to some folks that don't know him likely as well as they perhaps should?
I knew zero about him. So if I knew nothing about him, and Harvard, Yale, all that stuff, if I knew nothing.
Because you guys walked a lot of the same paths.
Okay, right? So, but in the information age, as we all know, people don't read. And
well, they read, but they read the phone, and they only read what they want.
Because we're at a 140 character society. And this is required. And so David Levering Lewis, Professor Lewis, the author of both these volumes, Pulitzer Prize winning author, he texted me this morning, or was it last night, and just said, Courtney, I waited till because we did a show this morning, and he said, the first one he did, the only one he did, he said, I wanted to wait before the show to let you know, to begin listening. He said, I'm in tears. So, you know, that for me, because
you brought his words and this man's life
to life. Because he said, my own children, because my books are big, my own children have never read my books. So I've grown children. So I'm just prayerful and hopeful that now my children may be able to listen to, I've done my job. Yeah. If he feels that way, I'm good.
And I suspect it does, as you pointed out, make it more palatable, having you voice the book.
I listen to a lot of books, a lot of big books, so I know if a reader is not doing the job right, I won't listen. Yeah. So for me to listen to myself and go, oh, I'm in it. Yeah. I know that, and if he loves it, and we'll move on to the next volume, which we start in September.
And so exactly, there's two volumes to his biography.
Another 650 page.
And where can we find this beautiful audiobook?
Wherever audiobooks are sold, you know, you go and, you know, just put in the title, Biography of a Race, and David Levering Lewis, W.E.B. Du Bois, and you will find it.
Courtney B. Vance, the W.E.B. Du Bois Biography of Race, 1868 to 1919, and it's just the first volume, the second volume coming in the fall. Thank you so much for coming in to talk with us again. And this is, honestly, I cannot wait.
Oh,
I will admit, I've read sections of the biography.
Gotcha.
But not the whole thing, and now I feel compelled to.
Yes, it's just a wonderful to be able to let it just wash over you and just go about your day, doing your thing, and listening.
From an Olympus of scholarship and opinion, he waved his pen and, as he wrote later, attempted to explain, expound, and exhort, to see, foresee, and prophesy to the few who could or would listen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
and we'll be right back. Our next guest is no stranger to the spotlight with roles on a long list of hit TV shows, FBI, Blue Bloods, The Blacklist. But it's in season 4 of the hit Starz series Power Book 3, Raising Kanan, that she really shines in her role as Stephanie Pop Henry, matriarch of a powerful crime organization. Take a look.
Look, if we're gonna do this shit, we need to move quick.
He said we get back to you, nigga. Now head home to your coffin or your crypt or wherever an undead motherfucker like you rests their head, okay? Let the adults talk.
In some ways, this is a dream job because Pop plays opposite her real-life partner, award-winning actor Wendell Pierce. His character, Ishmael Snaps Henry, is a living legend on the street. It is our pleasure to welcome actress Erica Woods. I am scared of you.
Thank you for that introduction.
You are no joke.
Thank you.
I hope you're nicer than that character.
Way nicer. Thank you. And it's the most fun I've ever had because no one sees me like that.
I always hear actors and actresses say playing the bad guy is always more fun.
It's the most fun.
Why is that?
You know, actually because she has so many layers and I keep unpeeling them and it's like just a wonderful surprise. Like, who knew she has a heart of gold? You know, she's a mother. You know, she doesn't have kids, but she mothers the kids around her in her own way.
In her own way.
She's a loving wife. Like, she loves her husband. He's her world and her family. She's made kind of her crime enterprise her family. And her loyalty to them, I just think is very commendable.
So when you take on a role like that, do you build out the character, or do they just give you the outlines ahead of time and then you build out the character and the backstory?
We were fortunate enough to build out the character. Our executive producers are so wonderful, Sasha Penn. They actually gave us the freedom. Like, you know, what do you feel this character would be? I was like, well, first of all, she has no parents.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, there's certain things that I wanted her to do. I wanted her to be very meticulous with her looks. And they gave us that freedom. And I didn't want her to have any kids.
Now, is it challenging when you walk? I mean, look, Power, they got some serious fans.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? So how challenging is it to walk onto a set where that's all established and people, they're already invested?
You know, for me, it was actually wonderful. The fans were so receptive of my character, which it freaked me out. I have a whole following of like cougar women. You know, they call it like Pops people. And they were just, first of all, they were so happy to see a couple that was married. And, you know, Black love and strong Black women. And so the fans have been very receptive. And I see them in my neighborhood and they're like, what part of New York are you from? And that's the biggest compliment for me because I'm not from New York. So they've been really, really wonderful and welcomed us in really early on.
And I said it was a bonus in the lead-in that you're actually working with your real-life partner. Is it a bonus, or do you sometimes want to kill him at work? And
No,
then you gotta go?
actually, the only time I get mad is when he makes me laugh at the most inappropriate moment. I'm like, you can't make me laugh right now. We're about to, you know, get into it with somebody. But no, it's actually wonderful, and I learn a lot. He has my back, and we work hard. You know, we work on stuff together. Our backstory and our chemistry is good, so it's a blessing.
And those long days in the office?
Oh, yeah, it's great. We both love food, so we'll go on food breaks, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, and he's from New Orleans, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's some good
He
eating.
can cook too. Oh, yeah.
So was acting always what you wanted to do? I know we have this in common. You were born in Texas.
Yes, ma'am.
So I've decided we're probably cousins somewhere.
And I pray we are. I pray we are.
Probably cousins. So you're born in Texas, but you grew up in
Kansas City, yes.
And your family is still there?
Yes, my dad is. And I caregive for my dad. He's in Overland Park, Kansas. And and my brothers are there. And I have a house there, so I go back and forth.
Was acting always what you wanted to do?
Actually, I wanted to do what you're doing, broadcast journalism. I went to Howard, dived right into the School of C, but quickly found out that wasn't for me. And went full steam into acting and modeling and really found my tribe and just went full steam ahead. Classes, lessons, love it.
But I'm listening to you and you make it sound easy and quick, But I know you had to do some work.
Yes,
to get
actually I've been doing theater since I was a kid, and it takes a lot. You have to first make sure it's your passion. So I started doing commercials, going out for plays, doing plays, and then you have to study constantly and just immerse yourself in it. And I did, and I found my community, and I was like, this is what I want to do, and it's just been a wonderful journey.
I can't wait to see what else you do in your career, because I got a feeling we're going to be seeing a lot more of you.
Thank you so much. You're so lovely.
Miss
Thank you
Erica
for having
Woods.
me.
I'm not really that lovely.
Please don't watch. I don't know if you watch Raising Kanan, but it's a lot of cussing. But.
No. Well, obviously, we haven't been friends very long. Stars.com.
Thank you.
If you haven't been watching the series, you've got to tune in, and you will not be disappointed. Thank you so much for sitting down with us today. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, too.
We'll be right back. Thank you for joining us on Here and Now. If you missed any portion of today's show, you can watch at abc7ny.com/Here and Now, or listen to our podcast wherever you subscribe. If you'd like to comment or share your story, email us at hereandnow@wabc.com or follow us on Facebook and Instagram. I'm Sandra Bookman. Enjoy the rest of your day.